We're here at Pennsylvania State Farm Show. It's a great week. I've been here a couple days already and looking forward to a conversation here with Secretary Russell Redding and to discuss some agriculture issues. So looking forward to the conversation.
You've got a little agricultural interest?
A little bit.
Welcome back. Good to see you. Thanks for all
Yeah.
your support of agriculture too. It's
Yeah.
nice to see you.
It's good.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, thank you. It's still our #1 industry, and lots of people, making livings off of agriculture one way, shape, or form. So,
Right.
Whatever we can do, and you, as myself, grew up on a dairy farm, so we know a little bit of what real life is down on the farm as well. So,
Yeah, and some of the challenges we have, right, particularly now around the dairy issue, and that's one that
it's huge.
is a shared, it's a huge issue and a shared concern, just given where those the dairy prices have been the last couple of years, and what that looks like going forward.
Yeah. Well, and I have kind of three questions I'd like to pose, and one is actually dairy and what you see going forward, and what can we expect. I know I was seeing where in Wisconsin, they lost 600 dairy farms, and I'm not sure what that number is in Pennsylvania. Maybe you have an idea on that. But those most likely won't come back. There won't be dairy cows on those particular farms, and so what does that look like for Pennsylvania? What does that mean? So that's one. One of my questions, because dairy's been huge in Lancaster County. We have 100,000 cows of the 500,000 that have been in our state over many years, and so it's very important.
It's important. I worry a lot about it, as you do, right? Because we've all have seen things in the last sort of 2 years, particularly, that are troubling.
Yeah.
Because these are generational farms. They're business models based on 70 acres, 70 cows, particularly in the Amish and Plains Tech community. We see these sort of consumer trends that are really hard to understand, given the value of that product and the nutritional benefits of dairy. So you've got this confluence of things that really create a challenge for us to understand what to do. But I appreciate the support that you've given personally to dairy in Lancaster County, what we try to do at the state. Having the dairy development plan, having a dairy investment program, really working hard at marketing of dairy product through our PA Preferred. You're trying to help our industry really think through some innovation, some reinvestment, but that's our piece, right? And we can keep doing that. I don't know whether that all happens quick enough. Right? We've got a little uptick in the last couple of weeks here on dairy for the spring, so I'm encouraged by that. I'm one who believes that this will turn. Whether it turns fast enough, right? And fast enough for any dairy is yesterday. Right. But I think we're working our way through it. I really feel for the dairy families, though, because they've got to make a decision about, okay, how much equity can I lose? Right? And that's where a lot of these guys are at the moment. So, but we'll keep working at it. I'm pleased that at least we've got a good start with a plan and an investment program. We can do more, and that'll be part of our conversation in the budget.
Good. Because I do think it's been such an important part of Pennsylvania agriculture that somehow we need to do what we can to help save what we can and make it a profitable business going forward for who's left. So So again, kind of related is to dairies in a big way, and as well as other farms, and that is the whole manure issue, and us, in Pennsylvania, especially the county that I'm from, Lancaster County, with kind of being ground zero for Chesapeake Bay cleanup and so on, and so it's important that we, try and do that as well as we can. And my question is, so right now we have all this manure, and primarily what we do is we land apply it. I mean, that's pretty much how it's managed and handled, and it has some real good value in crop raising and so forth as well. But today we have precision equipment where we can put the exact amount of manure on the exact spot in the fields. We can do that with fertilizers, and so doing that, and we have this excess. Where's the department on the idea of doing some other things, gasification, for example, things like drying it and then hauling it, because hauling it wet is just not feasible, at least not for any real distance. And then you get into the whole nutrient credit trading thing, and the Department of Environmental Protection has not been doing a lot in that area, and I just what's your thoughts on heading up the agriculture department on what we could do in the way of manure management going forward?
It's a great question. You're right in the ground zero in Lancaster County. And our challenge, as we've said all along, is the nutrient density issue. So we know that. We know if we want to keep animal agriculture in Lancaster County, you've got to have some alternative to the land application. And that's a product of both the scale and size of agriculture, but it's also a sign of the nutrient density you're using presently as a baseline. Right. So I think we've got to be honest about how do you actually do that. Part of the answer is found in some technologies, and if that is in the items that you've described, finding some alternative use for, if it's burning it, if it's being more creative about the condensing of that and the use in some manufactured products, whatever it is, has to be part of our plan going forward. And I know in our watershed implementation plan 3, the technologies, and I've been an advocate for keeping the technology piece in as part of our plan to the EPA. Long term, you have to find a way to apply some new technology, either on the nutrition side for nutrients, or on the back side for use of or absorption of or addressing that concern. So, I think really that's one of the key issues for us going forward is where do you invest, how do you invest? I think one of those great conversations is about the business structures around those nutrient management issues, right? It's not just writing the plan. It's what do you do with the nutrients that are produced, and then how do you market that? And I don't know whether it's realistic to think that any individual farmer or even a county can do that on their own, right? It's going to take a significant investment in technology. Where does that investment come from? So it's a big issue for us. I know you understand it. It is a big issue. I'm hearing there's the company Espoma. Espoma is in New Jersey. They make the hollytone that's used to fertilize holly bushes and trees. And what's interesting is they're looking at a facility where they dry manure. They're looking at setting it up in Schuylkill County and using landfill gases and then drying poultry manure, which is 80% or so of the actual finished product, and then ship it on over to New Jersey, and that could take a lot of poultry manure out of Lancaster County. There's some movement among in Ephrata, for example, to put a gasifier to burn municipal waste, and then making it large enough to have some farm animal manure come in as well. They could have a day of poultry manure, a day of dairy manure. And I guess my suggestion is for the department to get kind of maybe involved and behind some of those projects, because if we can get manure out of Lancaster County other than just land applied, I think we've made some real progress. So, and I'm assuming that our Conservation Commission is pretty much I know they work with CAFOs and do a great job with that, but it's still pretty much all land applied applications there. It's sort of in some sense sort of archaic, because the only dimension that we've talked about is the production of it, and the expectation is that the person or entity that's producing it is responsible for managing it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And the management to date has been, do you have enough acres to apply the volume of nutrients?
Right.
Yes or no, right? And if you don't, then you export it, but you're still sort of responsible for it.
Yeah.
But
So you export it to neighbors, and after a while, you know,
yeah.
where do you?
Yeah, right. It keeps building out. So
right.
you've got this density question that
yeah.
I would just say, you know, looking forward, two things. One, you're making sure that technology remains as one of the ways that the state is committing to addressing the nutrient issues that are required under the WIP 3 as it's termed.
Right. Right.
And two is that we are aggressive in the alternatives of technology. And that could be the polytone, it could be any number of things where people are saying, I want to do something different than land application with it, right?
Right. Right.
And keeping that at the forefront.
Yeah.
And using, I know you've been an advocate for the State Conservation Commission.
Right.
I personally believe that there's more they can do, and they're willing, by the way. We just have to sort of charge them.
Right, right.
That this whole dimension of the technologies, there's nobody in the Commonwealth who's vested with that responsibility. We have pieces. DEP has a piece, PennVest, PDA.
Right.
I think just looking forward, that's one of those areas as a commission that they could play a role in.
Well, I feel that. I feel strongly that way, and I feel that is there a way we can even, you know, get some resources available to look at more of the new technologies? And because what I'm hearing is that, you know, we have till 2025 to get the bay cleaned up and meet the, you know, the new guidelines and so forth.
Right.
And there's so many individuals within, you know, the various departments already saying we're not going to meet that, and you know, and so on. I refuse to accept that. I think we can if we really are serious about making that happen. So, third question I have is, you know, every business, if they're going to survive and can make long-term plans and budget and the likes of that, they need certainty.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest challenges down on the dairy, on not only dairy farms but all farms today, is when I have conversation with farmers, it's all the unknowns. And what I'd like to challenge not only the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, but if it's DEP or some of the other departments that are related and the farmers work closely with, that there's more certainty comes out of the departments because there's so many uncertainties. And if you're going to be in business and be in business for the long haul, you have to have some stability. And I feel like we have some opportunity to maybe do a better job at creating the certainty for our farmers, at least in some areas. Yeah. Because it's taking way too long to build a farm building, to get it permitted, to get, you know, all of that done, and then you have a dairy industry that we have no idea, you know, what that looks like and how soon the price changes. So they need more certainty than they have today.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, the time is right, you know, for that conversation. I hear the same thing, right? They want some predictability, as unstable as the markets are, as unstable as, you know, you pick your issue. They want to have at least some comfort in what the state is doing. Particularly the state. I mean, that's just part of our challenge, is the division of labor between a township, a state, and a federal government when you talk about some of these issues of conservation is a good example. But that said, I think there's some things that we could do, or at least ought to consider, is there any opportunity to take folks who've got a conservation plan, a nutrient management plan, they've done all the right planning stuff, but no violations, right? They've been great operators. Shouldn't that sort of set it up in, get them in the queue? For some expedition, right? Just expedite. I don't know. Without you completely, you know, turning the system upside down in the state, I think you could do some of that, where you have a pretty good track record and you have some comfort in those types of decisions. But I agree with you. I mean, it's one area where I think we could improve how we do business.
I just feel that we could do much more of that, and because we want to be competitive as a state as well. And when you look at, I've often used this example of, because I had a great conversation with the Phillips Mushrooms folks down in Chester County back earlier in the year. And of course, they're kind of the movers and shakers in the mushroom industry, and they have a 50-acre tract in Chester County, by their other facilities, and they want to do kind of a state-of-the-art mushroom house where it has automatic pickers and takes the soils in and brings them out, and and that kind of thing, because to do mushrooms right, you need to pick them every 2 hours or so. So anyway, they're working, trying to build this new building for 2 years, and they're driving in Maryland one day, and it's a farm for sale, and checking into that, and they check with the county and with state government and have a meeting, and 90 days later they have a permit, and in September the state-of-the-art mushroom house opens up in Maryland. So I just say we can do better than that. We can. That building should be in Pennsylvania. So.
So I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, I know you understand.
Right? No, I think it's
what can we do to?
Yeah, we ought to dissect that.
We should. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Look at it and say there was a sequence of decisions that the Phillips team made, and they're exceptional operators.
Right.
Right. And why did that? The only variable. I can't imagine the land was any less costly in Maryland. Hard to believe, right? But so there had to be some other factors. But it's a great
it was
example.
more, they were saying it took us 2 years and we had nothing, and so anyway, so I think we need to continue that dialogue.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. Well, good.
I agree.
Thanks. Appreciate
all the best to you. Look forward to working with you
it.
this year. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
You bet.